Alphonse Capone, also known by the nickname Scarface, reigned over the Chicago outfit for 7 years during the Prohibition era. He was the co-founder and boss of the outfit until he was imprisoned at the age of 33. Capone was born in 1899 in New York City, and he was the fourth of 9 children born to Gabrielle and Teresa Capone, 2 southern Italian immigrants from Angri, Italy. As a kid, Al Capone was skipping school and hanging out by the Brooklyn docks. But one day when he actually was at school, one of his female teachers struck him, and Al's retaliation was a hit directly to her face. But when the principal found out, he gave Al one hell of a beating. So Al Capone never returned to school. Instead, Al decided to learn from the School of Hard Knocks, and he went on to work for various businesses and companies, including a bowling alley, a candy store, a munitions factory, and most interestingly, at least to me it is, he was a bookkeeper for a construction company. Sounds like Al was learning all about businesses. Smart guy. He earned the name Scarface when he insulted the sister of Frank Galluccio, who protected his sister's honor by slashing Al 3 times on the left side of his face. Al hated the name Scarface, but he didn't mind his friends calling him Snorky, which back then meant a sharp dresser, apparently. Starting his career in organized crime, he became a member of a few street gangs and later took jobs as a bouncer in illegal brothels. This is where Al contracted syphilis. Imagine that, huh? According to Mario Gomes, Montreal gangland historian, head of myalcaponemuseum.com, unearthed evidence that Al Capone and his older brother Ralph played baseball for St. Michael's Church on a team called the Algerians. The Algerians didn't do all that great until they moved Al from first base to the pitcher's mound. See, even back then, Al was the boss. Later, the brothers started a team called the Capone Stars. I guess they did pretty good. Maybe that's how Al got so good with a baseball bat, you know what I mean? The Capone family left the tenement to a much nicer home just outside the Park Slope neighborhood of Brooklyn. Capone met not only his future wife, Mary May Coughlin, but also his mentor here, Johnny Torrio. Al started running errands for Torrio until Johnny left for Chicago in 1909, but they remained in contact. When Al was 19, Mary gave birth to Albert Francis, making Capone a father. Shortly after, his father suddenly died of a heart attack. Johnny Torrio invited Capone to move to Chicago, where Al would eventually become his right-hand man. While overseeing one of the largest gambling and prostitution rackets, the government enacted the 18th Amendment in 1920, thus enabling Torrio to focus on a more lucrative business, bootlegging. Capone's school of hard knocks was about to pay off. You see, with Capone's knowledge and experience as a bookkeeper and his street smarts coupled together, Torrio quickly made Al a partner. Things started off fine, but Al's reputation as a drinker and a hothead got him arrested after he hit a parked taxi cab. This was his first arrest, but not to worry at this time because his partner Torrio quickly influenced his political friends and got Al out of jail. Al straightened up right away when his wife and his child, along with his mother and his younger brothers and sisters, arrived in Chicago. Since Capone and Torrio's base of operations were located right there in Chicago, Al purchased a house on the middle-class South Side. When a Chicago reformist mayor announced his war against corruption in 1923, Torrio and Capone quickly moved their base to a suburb of Chicago known as Cicero. Shortly after this move, the 1924 election was held in Cicero. So on March 31st, 1924, Al, Torrio, their gang, they intimidated voters to vote for their guy. There was some whom refused, and they ended up shot and killed. One of Al's brothers, Frank Capone, was killed when the police, they were sent from Chicago to help the local PD in Cicero. They gunned them down in the middle of the street. Torrio left the business after an attempt on his life, and he returned to the homeland of Italy. In 1925, left Al the entire operation, making him the boss. It was estimated that Capone's operation at this point was generating $100 million annually. Even though he was at his Miami home, though, on February 14th, 1929, when the Bugs Moran gang was slain during the St. Valentine's Day massacre, the public and media blamed him, and that's when he was dubbed public enemy number one. So on June 5th, 1931, the government finally indicted Capone on 22 counts of income tax evasion. After going to trial and the judge not allowing a plea bargain and then switching the jury last minute, Capone was found guilty and sentenced to 11 years in prison. Well, due to the syphilis he contracted as a young man, it was left untreated. It caused neurosyphilis, which caused dementia. So after 6.5 years imprisonment, he was released in 1939 to a mental facility in Baltimore, Maryland. He spent 3 years there and then was released to live out his last days at his Miami home with his wife. He died of cardiac arrest on January 25th, 1947. To learn more about Chicago history, especially Chicago mob history, be sure to like it and subscribe.